Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk to you about a quiet superpower that is available to every one of us: mindfulness. In a world full of distractions, noise, and constant motion, mindfulness is the pause that helps us reconnect with what matters. It is the gentle art of being present fully, truly, and without judgment. Too often, we live our days on autopilot. We rush through tasks, scroll endlessly, react instead of respond, and forget to truly feel the moments that make up our lives. Mindfulness teaches us to wake up, to observe our thoughts without becoming them, to breathe deeply when anxiety knocks, and to find stillness even in chaos. Mindfulness isn't about escaping life. It's about engaging with life more deeply. When you're mindful, you listen better, you appreciate more, and you react less. You're no longer a prisoner of the past or a victim of future worry. You're right here, now, in full command of your peace. Whether it's sipping your morning coffee, having a conversation with a loved one, walking in nature, or even working, every moment can be an invitation to be mindful. And with practice, mindfulness becomes more than a technique. It becomes a way of living, a source of resilience, clarity, and inner strength. Let's not wait for stress or burnout to teach us to slow down. Let mindfulness be your daily habit, your silent anchor, and your path to a more intentional, joyful, and fulfilling life. At its core, mindfulness is about awareness, a deep, clear awareness of the present moment. It means tuning into the here and now with your full attention, without being dragged into regrets of the past or fears of the future. This sounds simple, but in practice, it's incredibly powerful. In our everyday lives, it's common to find ourselves physically in one place but mentally somewhere else. For example, you might be sitting at dinner with your family, but your mind is replaying a conversation from earlier in the day or worrying about a task tomorrow. This mental drift pulls us away from the richness of the moment in front of us. Mindfulness trains us to return to the present again and again. Like a muscle, we're strengthening each time we use it. Being mindful doesn't mean we have to stop thinking or clear our minds entirely. Rather, it means becoming aware of our thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations as they arise, observing them without judgment. It's about noticing the sound of your own breathing, the feel of the chair beneath you, the taste of your food, the rhythm of your heartbeat, or the tone in someone's voice. Through mindfulness, we begin to recognize how often our attention is hijacked by distractions, by our phones, our stress, our endless to-do lists. We begin to reclaim our focus and place it where it matters most. That could be on a conversation, a piece of work, a walk outdoors, or simply enjoying a quiet moment. Mindfulness invites us to slow down and engage with life more deeply. It asks us to stop rushing from one moment to the next and instead to fully experience the moment we are in. This full presence is not only calming, it's healing. It gives us clarity, peace, and a sense of connection to ourselves and to the world around us. Much of our daily behavior happens on autopilot, a state where we go through motions without conscious awareness. We wake up, scroll through our phones, rush through routines, drive to work, have conversations, and make decisions, all while our minds are often elsewhere. This mental automation can lead to careless mistakes, miscommunication, and emotional reactivity. When we're not aware, we tend to react based on habits or emotions rather than choosing thoughtful, deliberate responses. For instance, if someone criticizes us, our immediate reaction might be defensiveness or anger. If we're stuck in traffic, we might automatically feel irritated or anxious. These responses are often unconscious, driven by past conditioning, not present awareness. Mindfulness helps us notice these patterns in real time. By becoming aware of what we're thinking and feeling as it happens, we create a pause, a powerful space between stimulus and response. In that pause, we gain the freedom to choose a more conscious, calm, and constructive way to respond. This shift from reacting to responding is life-changing. It means we don't have to be at the mercy of our moods or triggers. Instead of snapping at a loved one during stress, we can recognize the tension rising, take a breath, and speak with kindness. Instead of numbing our discomfort with distractions, we can sit with our emotions and understand them. This is the essence of mindfulness, bringing awareness and intention to our actions. By breaking out of autopilot, we regain control of our thoughts, our behaviors, and ultimately our lives. We stop being passive passengers in our own journey and become active participants, fully awake to each moment and empowered to navigate it wisely. In today's fast-paced, high-pressure world, stress and anxiety have become almost constant companions. We are bombarded with information, overwhelmed by responsibilities, and often stretched thin by expectations both from others and from ourselves. This mental overload builds up, affecting not only our peace of mind, but also our physical health, relationships, and overall well-being. Mindfulness offers a powerful antidote to this overwhelm. By encouraging us to slow down, observe our thoughts, and reconnect with the present moment, mindfulness helps us disengage from the mental noise that fuels stress. Instead of being lost in worrying about the future or dwelling on past mistakes, we learn to anchor ourselves in what is real, what is happening right now. This shift is transformative. When we are mindful, we notice the signs of stress, the tightness in the chest, the racing thoughts, the shallow breath, and instead of letting them control us, we pause. We breathe, we observe, and often we find that the panic starts to soften. The tension starts to ease, not because the external problem vanished, but because we changed the way we relate to it. Scientific research backs this up. Studies have shown that regular mindfulness practice can lower cortisol levels, reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression, and improve our brain's ability to regulate emotions. This means we become better at staying calm under pressure, making clear decisions, and recovering quickly from emotional setbacks. Moreover, mindfulness helps us accept our experiences without harsh self-judgment. Rather than fighting our emotions or pretending everything is okay, mindfulness allows us to say, "This is how I feel right now, and that's okay." This compassionate awareness reduces internal conflict and creates emotional space, which is often all we need to regain balance. With time and practice, mindfulness becomes a source of steady inner calm, a safe place we can return to again and again, no matter how chaotic the outside world becomes. It doesn't remove life's challenges, but it gives us the tools to face them with greater strength, clarity, and grace. At the heart of every meaningful relationship lies one essential ingredient: presence. Whether we're dealing with a partner, a parent, a child, a friend, or a colleague, our ability to truly connect with others depends on how present we are in the moment we're with them. And that's where mindfulness plays a deeply transformative role. Mindfulness teaches us to listen without judgment, to pay full attention without interrupting, and to respond rather than react. When we bring this level of attention into our conversations, the people around us feel heard, seen, and respected, often for the first time in a long while. In many conversations, we're not really listening. We're waiting to speak, we're thinking of what to say next, or we're distracted by our phones, our stress, or our inner dialogue. But mindfulness teaches us to notice when our mind wanders and to gently bring it back. It reminds us that being fully present is a gift not just to others, but to ourselves. When we listen mindfully, we become more attuned to tone, body language, and emotion, not just words. We sense when someone is hurting even if they don't say it directly. We begin to communicate from a place of empathy, understanding that every person carries invisible struggles we might not be aware of. This deeper awareness leads to less conflict, more compassion, and more authentic connections. Mindfulness also helps us become more aware of our own triggers in relationships, the moments we feel angry, insecure, or defensive. Rather than lashing out or shutting down, we learn to pause and reflect. Why am I feeling this way? What's underneath this reaction? In this way, mindfulness promotes emotional maturity, helping us handle challenges with patience and clarity instead of blame or regret. Over time, relationships become more peaceful, more honest, and more fulfilling. We argue less because we understand more. We criticize less because we empathize more. In a world where attention is fragmented and emotional reactivity is high, mindful communication is not just a practice, it's a superpower for building trust, intimacy, and harmony. In an age of constant distraction, maintaining focus has become one of the most difficult and most valuable skills. Our phones buzz with notifications, our minds jump from task to task, and we often find ourselves multitasking, believing it makes us more efficient. But in reality, multitasking scatters our attention, weakens the quality of our work, and leaves us feeling mentally drained. Mindfulness directly challenges this scattered way of living by teaching us to bring our full attention to one thing at a time. When we practice mindfulness, we are training our minds to stay anchored to gently return to the task at hand whenever we notice we've wandered. This discipline, built over time, reshapes how we work, learn, and even rest. Studies have shown that mindfulness practice can enhance cognitive performance, including working memory, decision making, and the ability to concentrate. Whether you're writing an email, attending a meeting, studying for an exam, or working on a creative project, mindfulness helps you stay engaged and absorb more of what you're doing, leading to better outcomes with less effort. Mindfulness also helps us recognize internal distractions, such as self-doubt, stress, or boredom, that often sabotage our focus. Rather than resisting these feelings or escaping them through procrastination, we learn to notice them and allow them to pass without losing our momentum. This ability to calmly observe our inner state rather than being swept away by it is what gives us an edge in staying focused, even under pressure. Productivity doesn't just mean doing more, it means doing what matters with intention and clarity. Mindfulness helps us prioritize wisely because it puts us in touch with what's truly important in each moment. Instead of being reactive and scattered, we become more deliberate and efficient, not by working harder, but by being more present in each task. Ultimately, mindfulness turns productivity into a peaceful process, not a stressful race. It transforms focus from something we have to fight for into a skill we can gently nurture moment by moment, breath by breath. In the rush of daily life, it's easy to overlook the small, beautiful moments that surround us. We move quickly from one task to another, always thinking about what's next, and rarely pausing to truly experience the present. Mindfulness invites us to slow down and truly notice the richness of ordinary moments, which we often take for granted. Imagine drinking a cup of tea, really drinking it. You feel the warmth of the mug in your hands, smell the aroma, taste the subtle flavors, and breathe in deeply as you pause between sips. That's a mindful moment, and it's in these simple acts, walking, eating, listening, sitting in the sun, that mindfulness helps us find joy. By becoming more present, we begin to see beauty in places we once overlooked. The sound of rain against the window, the smile of a stranger, the comfort of a soft blanket, or the quiet stillness of morning. These experiences don't require money, status, or planning, only our attention, and with attention comes appreciation. This appreciation naturally leads to gratitude. When we are mindful, we realize how much we already have, not in a forced or superficial way, but through real, lived experience. We notice the kindness in a friend's voice, the health of our bodies, the gift of breath. Gratitude shifts our mindset from scarcity, what's missing, to abundance, what's here, which is the foundation of lasting happiness. Mindfulness also strengthens our ability to fully engage with joyful moments, rather than letting them slip by unnoticed. Too often, even when good things happen, we rush past them or dilute them with worry or distraction. Mindfulness teaches us to stay with joy, to feel it, embrace it, and allow it to soak into our being. Over time, this enriches our emotional world and helps us cultivate a more joyful, balanced outlook on life. Savoring doesn't mean every moment will be perfect, but it does mean that even in imperfection, we can find something meaningful. We become more attuned to life's subtle pleasures, and in doing so, we begin to live more fully, with a heart open to wonder and a mind grounded in presence. Emotions are an essential part of being human. They give color to our experiences and guide many of our decisions. However, when we're unaware of them or overwhelmed by them, emotions can become a source of confusion, conflict, or even pain. This is where mindfulness becomes a powerful ally. It doesn't suppress emotions or push them away. It teaches us to recognize, understand, and relate to them with greater awareness and compassion. Mindfulness encourages us to observe our inner world, our thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations as they arise, without immediately reacting to them or labeling them as good or bad. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm so angry and that's wrong," mindfulness allows us to say, "I'm noticing anger in me right now." That subtle shift from being the emotion to observing the emotion gives us distance, perspective, and choice. This practice is the foundation of emotional intelligence, the ability to be aware of and manage our emotions, as well as recognize and empathize with the emotions of others. When we are mindful, we become more skilled at naming what we feel. "I'm feeling anxious," "I'm disappointed," or "I'm excited." Naming emotions is powerful. It helps regulate them. As the saying goes, if you can name it, you can tame it. Furthermore, mindfulness trains us to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. If we feel triggered, we learn to pause, breathe, and choose how to act, rather than lashing out or shutting down. We become less reactive and more resilient. We begin to see emotions not as threats, but as messages, information we can use to grow, connect, and heal. It also deepens our ability to empathize with others. By becoming more familiar with our own emotional experiences, we become more sensitive to what others may be going through. We listen more carefully, judge less harshly, and support more wisely. Our relationships deepen, and our compassion both for others and for ourselves expands. Ultimately, mindfulness doesn't make our emotions go away. It teaches us to hold them with care, to understand their roots, and to let them pass when it's time. This quiet inner work builds emotional strength, balance, and wisdom, the true essence of emotional intelligence. One of the most beautiful things about mindfulness is that it doesn't require any special setting, equipment, or ritual. It can be practiced anytime, anywhere, in the middle of your regular daily routine. In fact, some of the most effective moments of mindfulness arise during the simplest acts of life, the very things we often overlook. Take breathing, for example. Breathing is automatic, yet when we bring our full awareness to the breath, it becomes a tool for grounding ourselves in the present. Just one conscious breath, noticing the inhale, the pause, the exhale, can shift us out of anxiety and into calm. It reminds us that we are here now and safe. Walking is another ordinary activity that can become a mindful practice. Instead of rushing from one place to another while your mind races ahead, you can choose to walk slowly and with awareness. Feel your feet touch the ground, notice the rhythm of your steps, observe your surroundings, and tune into the sensations in your body. This transforms walking into a meditation, a way to reconnect with yourself and the world. Even eating, something we often do while distracted, can become a powerful mindfulness practice. When you slow down and truly taste your food, chew slowly, and notice its texture and flavor, eating becomes not just nourishing, but deeply satisfying. You become aware of hunger and fullness cues, and you cultivate a more balanced relationship with food. Something as simple as sipping tea or coffee can also be done mindfully. Rather than scrolling through your phone while drinking it, pause. Feel the warmth of the cup, inhale the aroma, take a slow sip, and just be present with the experience. These tiny pauses throughout the day, when done consistently, have a profound cumulative effect on your mental clarity and emotional well-being. The key is to bring your full attention to whatever you're doing, no matter how mundane it may seem. By doing so, you create pockets of peace and presence in your day. You stop waiting for special moments to feel calm or joyful. Instead, you find them already hidden in the fabric of your everyday life. Many of us are kind and understanding when it comes to others. We comfort a friend in pain, forgive a loved one's mistake, or encourage someone who feels down. But when it comes to ourselves, we often take a very different approach. We judge, we criticize, we hold ourselves to impossible standards and speak to ourselves in ways we'd never speak to someone we care about. Mindfulness helps break this cycle by opening the door to self-compassion, a gentle, non-judgmental way of relating to our own suffering. Through mindfulness, we begin to observe our thoughts and emotions without attaching shame or blame. Instead of saying, "I'm such a failure," we might notice, "I'm feeling disappointed right now." This subtle shift allows us to see our experience clearly, but with softness, not harshness. When we practice mindfulness, we learn that it's okay to not be okay sometimes. We begin to understand that pain, fear, and self-doubt are not signs of weakness, they are part of the human condition. And in recognizing our shared humanity, we stop isolating ourselves in our struggles and start treating ourselves with the care and compassion we deserve. Mindfulness also teaches us that we don't have to fix or change everything about ourselves right away. Sometimes, just being present with a difficult emotion without trying to push it away is a radical act of self-care. It allows healing to happen naturally. We stop fighting ourselves and start befriending ourselves, flaws and all. Over time, this self-compassion helps us recover from setbacks more quickly, take healthier risks, and develop greater emotional resilience. We become less afraid of making mistakes because we know we'll treat ourselves kindly even when we fall short. This inner support system gives us the courage to grow and evolve, not from a place of fear, but from a foundation of love and understanding. In a world that often values perfection over authenticity, mindfulness reminds us that our worth is not tied to our performance, our appearance, or our achievements. It's tied to our presence, to the way we care for ourselves moment by moment, with honesty, grace, and compassion. At first, mindfulness might seem like a simple tool, a way to breathe more deeply, stay calm, or manage stress. But as we continue to practice it consistently, something deeper begins to shift. Mindfulness becomes more than just a technique. It becomes a new way of being, a lens through which we begin to see ourselves, others, and life itself with greater clarity, softness, and understanding. We begin to notice our inner dialogues, the beliefs we carry, the stories we repeat, the fears we've absorbed. And rather than being controlled by these unconscious patterns, we start to observe them. This observation leads to insight, and insight leads to transformation. We realize, perhaps for the first time, that we are not our thoughts. We are not our emotions, we are the awareness behind them. This awakening allows us to relate to ourselves with more acceptance and less resistance. We stop chasing perfection or comparing ourselves constantly to others. Instead, we begin to honor who we are in this moment while still holding space for growth. We see our imperfections not as flaws, but as part of the beautiful, unfolding story of our humanity. At the same time, mindfulness broadens our view of the world. We start to notice the suffering of others, the beauty in nature, the quiet moments that once seemed insignificant. We develop a deeper sense of connection to the people around us, to the present moment, and to life itself. The world becomes less of a battleground and more of a shared experience, filled with both challenge and wonder. This shift in perspective changes how we move through life. We become more patient, less reactive, more grounded, less consumed by fear, more open, less rigid. We stop needing to control every outcome and instead trust the process of living. Each moment becomes an opportunity to wake up, to be here, fully with whatever is. In this way, mindfulness becomes a lifelong companion, not something we do for 10 minutes a day, but something that quietly shapes our choices, our relationships, and our sense of peace. It doesn't change what happens to us, but it absolutely changes how we relate to what happens. And in doing so, it transforms everything. In a world that constantly pulls our attention outward, mindfulness gently calls us inward to return to ourselves, to the present, and to the life that is unfolding right in front of us. It is not a luxury or an escape, but a powerful, accessible practice that helps us meet each moment with greater clarity, compassion, and courage. Mindfulness doesn't promise a life without stress or difficulty, but it does offer us the tools to navigate those challenges with wisdom and grace. It teaches us to slow down, listen deeply, love ourselves fully, and live more intentionally, not someday in the future, but right now, in this breath, in this moment. Let us remember, peace is not found in the absence of noise or chaos. It is found in our ability to be present within it. And the more we cultivate this inner presence, the more we begin to realize that mindfulness is not just something we practice, it is something we become. So let's take this journey together, one breath, one step, one moment at a time. Thank you.